You know, lunch breaks are more of a suggestion than a rule, right?
You know, labor laws don't really work like suggestions, right?
You know, committed employees don't care about laws, right?
You know, lawsuits don't care about commitment, right?
You know, your attitude could be why you're still in the same position, right?
You know, your management style could be why turnover's so high, right?
You know, undermining your boss isn't exactly career boosting, right?
You know, exploiting workers doesn't exactly earn loyalty, right?
You know, this conversation isn't going how you think it is, right?
You know, HR is already copied on this thread, right?
You know, that wasn't necessary, right?
You know, skipping lunch isn't necessary either, right?
You know, we could have handled this privately, right?
You know, I tried that last week when you told me to eat while cleaning, right?
You know, I was joking about that, right?
You know, I was serious when I recorded it, right?
You know, threatening your manager isn't a good look, right?
You know, violating labor laws on camera isn't a great defense, right?
You know, we really value your work here, right?
You know, it's wild how fast the tone changes when HR gets involved, right?
You know, you can like this post for more content, right?